Are you getting a new puppy? Not sure what to get for them with the many choices available in the market? In this video, I will help you narrow down that list and help you prepare without breaking your bank. Hi everyone! Welcome back to the channel. It's a Poodle Mom again with the two toy poodles. Adding a new furry family member is always an exciting experience for any new dog owner. And one of the most stressful as well as very exciting part of that is the preparation, aka shopping. And now that I think about it, when I checked my list, I honestly think I spent a lot more than I should have back then, had I known what I know now. So all the things that I will be sharing with you are the most practical things for you to get in the meantime, because trust me, it's a long lifetime of supplying stuff for them and things can pile up. So take my word for it and let's dive into the list. Alright, number one, dog food. You cannot have a dog without dog food, obviously. It's such a big controversy now, what kind of food you feed your dogs, and social pressure is definitely there. What I suggest in the beginning is for you to feed what your breeders are feeding them. Normally, in a puppy starter kit, when you get a puppy, they provide you with basic necessities like a portion of their food. If not, you can contact your breeder, ask them which one, so that you can get like a small bag or pouch of whatever it was. They have small bags like these that you can grab off the shelf if you plan to transition your dogs to whatever food that you want or choose to go for, because you have many options in the market now. For example, you can do dehydrated, you can do freeze-dried, home cooked, raw, and so many other things. So it's really just a personal choice, and each one has their pros and cons. Now people will tell you that raw is the best or like home cooked is the best. For me, consistency is very important when it comes to food, so I suggest you find one that will work best for your kind of lifestyle. I personally cook for my own dogs. I have recipes that I've shared in this channel. I'll link them up in the cards above as well as in the description box below for your convenience. Number two would be vitamins and supplements. Now, it's commonly known that when you feed kibble, then it's already completely nutritionally balanced. But if you feed home cooked and raw, then you have to add supplements. Now for your new puppies, it's best to ask your breeders what supplements they give your puppies so that the transition will be a lot easier. Later on, if you really want to change the brand, then feel free to do so. Or you can even ask your vets. If you guys are curious what supplements and vitamins I give my dogs NHV. This is the turmeric and the multi-essentials because I do home cooked for them. Now another brand that I rotate with is Augustin Approved. So this is the Super Boost from Augustin Approved, and this is Faith. These are my go-to brands for supplements. And if you guys are interested, there are affiliate links in the description box below for your convenience. Number three would be good pet food bowls or drinking bowls. Now, you have many choices. There's plastic, there's ceramic, and there's stainless steel. Out of the three, stainless steel is what I would recommend because it retains the least amount of bacteria when the three were tested. Make sure that what you get, if you plan to get stainless steel, it's real stainless steel, because there are many in the market that look like stainless steel but is not, because stainless steel, no matter what you do, it does not rust. So make sure you get a good brand. As for drinking bowls, my go-to is also stainless steel. You can get the same one for your drinking bowls, or if you can afford the extra buck, go for a water fountain for poodles, because they can be very, I don't know, apprehensive about drinking for some reason. My dogs had an issue before where they were very dehydrated. It's because they didn't drink a lot, but ever since I got the water fountain, it helped. Now let's talk about the crates. Now that you have many options in the market, and most dog trainers actually use the steel crate. You also have the option to use a travel crate, collapsible crates, as well as bags, whichever works for your own convenience. Now, I personally would recommend the travel crate because it hits two birds with one stone. You do the crate training as well as crate training for a travel crate, meaning anytime you need to fly, they are already trained to stay inside the travel crate. Now, most dog trainers will recommend the steel crate, or that's the one that they commonly use, and there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just personal preference. Quite frankly, the only one that I'm currently using right now is my collapsible crate. I've gotten rid of the travel crates because I was afraid that it would just rot there. So you can actually buy all three by all means if you want, but the thing is, over time it just becomes clutter. Next would be treat and toys. I would suggest that you only get one small something for your dog when it comes to toys, because dogs have preferences. You have hard toys, you have balls, you have the soft chew toys, much like this one. My dogs prefer soft chew toys over the hard toys. They prefer to play with a lot of these soft toys. That's why most of our toys in our basket are just these soft toys. So if you keep getting all the cute ones just because you find them cute and your dogs don't even play with them, then you know, it's just a waste of money. Now it's really up to you what kind of treats you want. There are many choices, like I said, in the market. My go-to would be anything all natural, freeze-dried, dehydrated. So mine would be usually dehydrated treats. I buy an assortment, and it's really up to you which brands you use. I've also used Stella and Chewy's. I absolutely love Ziwi Peak. There's also Grandma Lucy's for the cookies. It's really just personal preference. But as of the moment, for my girls here in the Philippines, it's a local brand that we work with. It's Perfect Plate. Now, it's very important that you only get small bags in the beginning, because treats are not food replacements for your pups. I know they will love it. They absolutely love treats. But the thing is, when you give too much of something that shouldn't be, then they will start rejecting their food, and you wouldn't want that. Next would be pee pads. It's really up to you which brands you get. There's really not that big of a difference which brands you get. I personally just get the cheapest ones. The last ones that I've used would be Kirkland. It's a huge box like this, and it'll last you enough throughout the potty training. Now, you have the option to buy either a playpen or a baby gate. If you have the extra space in your house and you have an extra room, for example, or maybe an area of your house like the kitchen, an extra bedroom or something, then you can just get a baby gate to close that area up for them and puppy proof whatever that whole area is. Because when it comes to starting out with your new puppy, you have to isolate them to help with your potty training. It'll speed things up. Or if you can't, or you don't have an extra space like that, it would be helpful for you to get a fence for their playpen area. It'll help you control your puppy as you do their potty training, their crate training, and you know, getting them to know the house and everyone in the house. Next would be collars, harnesses, and leash. For collars, if you're in a country where they would need tags, then of course just get a really cheap one that'll fit your pups as of the moment, because don't forget, they're still gonna grow. Also, you will run the risk if you get like a super expensive one. Puppies tend to chew, and you wouldn't want them to chew on super expensive collars. Trust me, I made that mistake with Summer. And you know, if they chew on that, that's bye-bye cash. Now, for harnesses and leashes, don't get me wrong, I have harnesses for my girls, but I only use these for travel and for hiking, like quote-unquote extreme sports for dogs, to make it easier for me to access them in cases of emergency. So this is the usual leash that you guys will usually be able to get in any pet store. I personally don't use these. These are just fancy leashes for like events and stuff. I got them as gifts. But don't get me wrong, I did have a lot of those in the past, as well as hands-free leashes from like Easy Dog as well as Roughwear. But when it comes to leashes, I actually prefer what you call a slip leash. Now, there are many kinds as well. This one is the typical one that you will get from any store. It's a really cheap one that's manufactured in China a lot. I'm sure many of these brands, of course, are still manufactured in China. But I'm not a big fan of this kind of nylon slip leash. It works still. It was sold by my trainer. But then I found a new one sold by a trainer from the US. I'll link her Instagram. I'm not affiliated with her whatsoever, but I absolutely love her slip leash. For me, this is one of the best slip leash I have ever had, especially for small dogs, because this one does not tangle up with their coats. It's different. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference in materials, but this one is relatively softer. Now, the downside to this one is if you have things that can get stuck in it, it can, because it's braided and stuff. So that's the only downside. But I love how it's very easy for me to do the correction with my dogs when I do the training, because the problem with dogs like poodles, when they have slip leash, the reason why I don't like collars is because it causes tangles and mats around them when you leave it there. And it's also because I leave their coats relatively longer than most people do. Next would be cleaning sprays. Now this will keep your moms or your family sane. Now my go-to right now is, I prefer all natural sprays, but don't get me wrong, I'm not a purist when it comes to like natural stuff. I do believe that, you know, a good amount of chemical is also important, especially when it comes to bacteria and viruses. There's a limit to what all natural can do. But my go-to for all natural, if there's really nothing major, would be Fetch Neem Spray. I'm not sure if it's available still on Amazon. It used to for the ones in the US and Canada, but it's a local brand here in the Philippines. I'm sure in the US there's a lot more. And this is my go-to spray right now for the floor from Perfect Home. Now, this one is a brand that we are working with. Like I said, we're going to be partnering with them. I'm not trying to promote it because, quite frankly, I'm not even going to be able to sell it in other countries. But do find one that is antibacterial and odor control for peeing. Because one thing that I learned when it comes to puppies is that even if we don't smell it anymore, just because you've wiped it off and you've used alcohol doesn't mean the smell of the pee is gone. You need an enzyme, an anti-enzyme of the pee that will kill those the smell that dogs can still smell. It'll help with your potty training. Next would be anti-tick and flea. Now, like I said, I believe in all natural products, but I'm also very realistic. There are times that there are limits. My go-to sprays, especially for puppies, would be Cedar Side and NHV's Cocoa Fur Care. I am not an affiliate of Cedar Side, but nonetheless, I absolutely love their products. Now, the one I use is Tick Shield, which is the stronger version. For puppies, I recommend getting the latter, the one that has around 10% only. This one has 20%. Just the regular Cedar Side anti-tick and flea. Don't get the Tick Shield. There are two kinds. So once they're much older, I recommend that you use Tick Shield because it's much more potent. A safer spray for puppies also would be NHV's Cocoa Fur Care. It has anti-tick and flea properties as well. It can kill ticks and fleas, and also is very moisturizing on puppies' coats. Because if there's one thing you have to know when they're puppies, their coats are the puppy coats. They're relatively soft, but they could be coarse. It depends on the genetics of your puppy. Now, there are those options of the orals and the other medicated sprays. Like I said, if you're just after prevention, all natural is the way to go. But when things get worse, then see a veterinarian for the recommendations of those medicines. I have used Bravecto, I have used NexGard, I have used Frontline as well. Now, I'm not saying I use them on a regular basis, but on a worst case scenario, when they are infested, I have only had to use each of those once. I've only used Bravecto once, I've only used NexGard once in their whole 8 years, so don't judge me. It's my own preference and my own choice, because that was the best for the situation. I've used Frontline, not on my dogs, but on my previous dog, Sam. And sadly, we constantly used that terrible, terrible pesticide on him for a very long time, and I absolutely regret it. But then again, back then, there weren't as much dog products as there are now in the market. So, you know, it was a tough time. But I'm sharing you these things because it is the reality. There's nothing perfect. It is what it is. Next would be, of course, it's just too many. I have to carry them already. Would be your shampoos and conditioner. And for me, my go-to is always Chris Christensen. Now, these are the three that I use from Chris Christensen. It's the day-to-day set, the day-to-day shampoo, and then the day-to-day conditioner, as well as the Happy Eyes. Now, for puppies, I would recommend that you get the Happy Eyes. It's actually enough. You don't need these three. But once they're older, you need these three. For Happy Eyes, it's very safe because based on the name, it does not cause any pain when it gets to their eyes. So this is absolutely amazing for puppies. I've used these on Summer and Bailey since they were puppies, as well as Little Finn. And now another one that I highly recommend for puppies. Guys, this is a recent find, a recent quote-unquote discovery. It's Augustine approved super bath. It's like an herbal bath that you just dip like tea on water and then you soak your dogs in. I cannot say enough good things about this because it has helped prevent mats on my dogs. If you are getting poodles, you definitely need dematting sprays. Now I have 3 that I would recommend. Of course, it's the Chris Christensen Ice and Ice. Chris Christensen Ice and Ice Ultra. This is their newest product. If I had to choose just one, and if you just need it for dematting, like you don't have to use it on a regular basis every time you bathe them, then just get the Ultra. Now there's another one that I use. It's Pure Paws is H2O Hydrating Mist. It works well on mats as well, but it causes their coats to get sticky and curly. But if you're the type of owner who wants the curly coat and kind of shiny, then go for this one. But I prefer the poofy coats, much like teddy bears, so I only use this as their misting spray, as like a coating spray to prevent matting. Now let's talk about brushes. So you guys have to figure out what kind of comb or what kind of brushes you need for your dogs. For poodles, what you need usually are slicker brushes and thin brushes. Now there are different kinds. For slicker brushes, you have different options like these from brands. Now it's up to you which one will work best for your budget. So my only go-to when it comes to brands of slicker brushes would be Chris Christensen, and nobody has come close to the quality that they produce and how painless it is for the dogs. It's a good investment. Now I know every person has their own set of budget. This comes at a hefty price. There are definitely cheaper options out there, but if you can spend a little, just invest in one slicker brush. You need nothing more than this one. This is the Mark II slicker brush from Chris Christensen. Or you can also get a pin brush. This is the Madan round pin brush, and this is not very expensive. This is only about $15 to $20, and this has been with me for at least 6 or 7 years, so it'll last you a long time, provided of course that you take care of your things properly. Next on the list are a good set of towels. Now I highly recommend that you invest in good microfiber towels because this is one thing that will speed up your grooming or bathing your pups. Now personally, what I use is Woofer and Berlinski. It's a Singaporean brand, and don't worry, they ship internationally and I am not affiliated whatsoever, but I still do recommend them. Now this one is my set of towels. Yes, I got one for myself. We all have different colors so that of course I know which one's mine and which one's the dog's. So it comes as a pair. This one is a smaller towel. I think it's a face towel supposedly, and you can use it, and I usually use it for wiping the dog's stuff. Not this one, their sets. And the bigger towel is about this size. It's pretty big. See? This one goes a long way, and it easily dries up my hair too, as well as the dog's. It has sped up my grooming process at least 2 times, if not 3 times. Next would be good nail clippers. I've had this since my very first dog, Sam, and it's made of stainless steel. So as you can see, it's still as good as new. I use it for the cats, I use it for the dogs, and it works wonders. So I prefer this kind. There's another one that are like scissors and stuff. It's really up to you, but this is what I personally use. Like I said, all the products that I recommended are just options for you. But these are the list of things that you will be needing, regardless of the brand, regardless of the kind of brush whatsoever. All these things are the things that you will be using all throughout their lives. Now, my recommendation is for you to pace yourselves when it comes to shopping for your dogs. Because having a dog is like 10 years of having a baby. And that's 10 years of accumulating stuff. And trust me when I say that things pile up. So, pace yourselves. And if you guys are interested, I have a couple more videos that I will be recommending if you're getting a new puppy. Feel free to check them out, and we hope to see you there.